Okay, so we've had a double rerun banner for a couple weeks. Everybody can calm the fuck down. I think now would be a good time to talk about what this new method of bringing back previously released event characters means for the game. And I mean both what it can mean and, more importantly, what it likely does mean, because there is a little bit of a distinction between the two that we'll get into later. So, first of all, I want to point out that this is a full on improvement of the game, including the pacing of the release schedule of new 5 stars. So, let's take a look at the release schedule as it relates to how we would expect each main numbered version to play out, assuming all things equal. In the first, second, and third updates of a main version, we normally get 2 new 5 stars, and there would be 4 more updates after that, 3 of which would include 1 new character, and 1 of which would have 2 rerun banners. So let's break that down. A total of 9 new characters and 5 reruns, which means that characters would have an opportunity to rerun at a slower pace than new characters would come out, so it would become impossible for things to cycle appropriately, where everything gets reruns for those who missed it the first time. That by default puts the game in a bad state. It's bad enough that people who started playing in late 2020 had to wait for Zhongli. Imagine how much longer they'll have to wait for him to get another rerun in that situation. So now we can look at what presenting double reruns does in a couple situations, starting with the same schedule. Even if we assume that the double reruns only come on an update with a new character, we still get 9 new characters and 8 reruns, which, although not quite balanced, is a lot closer. And let's be real, those 2 rerun updates could just become a double and a single, or 2 doubles to even out the pace. Of course, it would probably be better if the pace was actually greater with the reruns than the new characters in the long term, so you can enter the game at any point and feel like you're going to get something for it. Which, of course, is where a system where every update would have a double rerun and a new character would come in, giving us 2 reruns for each new character every time. Now that the game has a big enough roster, this is a good time for that to start being a thing. That has implication beyond just giving reruns faster too. It also evens out the pace of new characters so that things aren't as stacked as at the beginning. With a game like Genshin Impact, spacing out this type of content can help with longevity and having more time to design new things for future characters to be able to do. But, of course, another positive comes to the fan base. What this means is that the character you want is going to come around more frequently, which means that you don't have to panic about missing them the first time. I mean, sure, Zhongli got a 5-month turnover for his first rerun, and Tartaglia got 2 reruns for some goddamn reason, but most characters wind up waiting 10 to 11 months for a single rerun. Some of you are probably mentioning Eula right now as you leave a mean comment about how fat I am in real life, and congratulations for proving my point. Not only on the fat thing, I mean with Eula, she got a rerun early specifically because double reruns are a thing. MiHoYo's statement on double reruns in the special program announcement was also that double reruns would allow characters to rerun based on the story, which is pretty much what they did here. This also means more of the events are going to actually involve playable characters in the story of them, which is honestly a major positive after last year's Lantern Rite struggled with a sense of investment in anything other than the permanent content provided. This is something more worth discussing in another video, but for the purposes of the current subject, I just want to point out that this is something I'll point out when talking about the reality of what double reruns would do, actually. In theory, we can have some 5 stars join us for a major event, and they get reruns. Pretty simple. It allows for more major events to be low AR friendly, and it also ensures that people of lower ARs that may not be the most current part of the main story just yet have something to wish on to progress their account and get excited over right now. Like, even having an Inazuma double rerun during Sumeru is going to be more of an upgrade for someone who started during 2.x than getting the Sumeru characters now would be, let's be real. It also can allow for these characters to be split. 1 newbie-friendly banner, 1 for those at an intermediate point in the story, and for those all the way up, we have the later banner that they can say primos during the double rerun for. But these are all what could happen and the good it could do. Of course, another piece of good it could do is give us more 4-star rate-ups by having each rerun banner have different 4 stars, but we're clearly not getting that, are we? In reality, what I think is going to happen is that there's going to be certain characters that get rerun a lot and certain characters that, while rerun less frequently, are still at the very least getting rerun often enough to give people a chance. Some characters feel like once a year reruns, and part of the point here seems to be to give those once a year reruns while still providing other reruns of characters that people may want. We also can't really look past the possibility that not all reruns are necessarily gonna be double reruns. We don't really know yet, and it'd probably be the better business practice because it allows more content to be released without expending as many resources on the developer's part, but Well, this is miHoYo, and sometimes decisions are really weird. For some people, as I mentioned before, this does present a possible nightmare scenario, or as I've been calling it, the Zhao Ganyu dilemma. While that's not 100% of an accurate name, it does represent the possibility of two 5 stars that you have to choose between that are both 5 stars you really want. To be honest, even the worst case scenario with this of miHoYo just using it as an excuse to rerun Tartaglia more, I think the concept of people needing to make a difficult decision is a con that really doesn't outweigh the pros, simply because of the fact that these decisions get easier the more that you have. For instance, if you've gotten Tartaglia on 3 different banners already, and you have more if characters get rerun more, so Tartaglia isn't taking away from something you want as much. This is the most positive change to the game that miHoYo has done recently, and in light of a lot of the bad press about the anniversary and people complaining about everything, warranted and not warranted, Genshin's release schedule seems to be hitting a stable point after, let's be real, a very rough couple of updates. I hope they can keep it up and continue moving forward. And hey, maybe with some of the stuff I'm going to be talking about here in a few weeks. I mean, probably not. They're probably not going to listen to me, but we'll see. We'll see.